They call it a lot of names to make you afraid of it. I call it mine, ganja man. Boom 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 boom. Get a na 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 na. Boom 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 boom. Ganja man. Yeah. Ganja man is not the title given by the court. Ganja man is not the charge on the report. Ganja man is the identity the earth assigned to the one who found the medicine and found the mind of the gardener and the healer and the one who knows what the plant provides to those who tend and those who grow with the respect and understanding of the ancient line. Ganja man and the garden is mine. Ganja man testimony from the side up. Ganja man testimony filling every cup of the morning and the evening and the in between. Ganja man testimony and what it means to carry this. Ganja man testimony, yeah. I wear it with my name. Ganja man testimony, yeah. Through every law and claim against the garden and the growing. Ganja man testimony. The earth kept on going past every prohibition. Ganja man testimony. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The ganja man wakes up before the system starts its run. The ganja man checks the garden before the morning sun has reached the window of the grow room and the temperature. The ganja man is his own doctor and his own signature on the prescription that the garden fills each harvest time. The ganja man and the medicine and the rhyme of the tending and the yielding and the earn. Ganja man and everything this soil has earned. Ganja man testimony from the soil up. Ganja man testimony filling every cup of the morning and the evening and the in between. Ganja man testimony and what it means to carry this. Ganja man testimony, yeah. I wear it with my name. Ganja man testimony, yeah. Through every law and claim against the garden and the growing. Ganja man testimony. The earth kept on going past every prohibition. Ganja man testimony. Yeah, yeah. They tried to shame the ganja man with the handcuff and the cell. The ganja man walked out of everyone and tended to the well of the garden that was waiting. When the bars finally broke, ganja man testimony in the garden and the smoke. Yeah, so the testimony continues in the growing and the knowing of the plant that saved the body when the body was going into the darkness of the unmedicated pain. Ganja man testimony and the garden's refrain is the same song every harvest and every seed. Ganja man testimony is the creed of the one who chose the earth above the system's chain. Ganja man testimony to the sun and the rain. Ganja man testimony, yeah. I wear it with my name. Ganja man testimony. right to grow is older than the state. The right to grow is not a privilege or debate of the legislature and its particular claim. The right to grow is in the earth and in the name of every seed that falls and germinates. The right to grow is what the earth creates. The right to grow, yeah, older than the law. The right to grow, yeah, from the earth and Jah, not from permission. The right to grow is in the seed's own mission to become the medicine. The right to grow, the right to grow. They imprison the grower for the act of the natural. They call the cultivation criminal and factual. Evidence of the violation of the code. The right to grow and the garden abode the load of the unjust and the arbitrary and the wrong. The right to grow and the garden kept the song of the resistance in the growing to the rate. The right to grow and the garden never fades. The right to grow, yeah, older than the law. The right to grow, yeah, from the earth and Jah, not from permission. The right to grow is in the seed's own mission to become the medicine. The right to grow, yeah, the right to grow. The prisoner who grew in the yard was exercising the right to grow. The apartment farmer growing in the dark was exercising the right to know that what the earth provides for the body cannot be criminal. The right to grow is fundamental, yeah. So the right to grow continues in the grow rooms of the free, in the states that recognize what the evidence would see about the medicine and the grower and the right to grow and the garden in the light of the morning is the exercise of the fundamental. The right to grow is not experimental. It is the oldest right that Jah gave to the end. The right to grow, the medicine in the right to grow, yeah, older than the law. The right to grow, yeah, from the earth and Jah, not from permission. The right to grow is in the seed's own mission to become the medicine. The right to grow, yeah, the right to grow. The right to grow, Jah gave it. The right to grow, the earth confirms it, yeah. The right to grow always was, always will be free. Free. No dealer needed, no number to call, no corner to visit, no unknown hands, just the garden, yeah. No dealer needed since the first seed went in the soil. No dealer needed on the end of all the toil of the waiting by the phone and the price that changed each week. No dealer needed and the garden is the peak of the independence that the grower always sought. No dealer needed and the freedom that I bought was not with money but with patience and with care. No dealer needed and the medicine is there in the jar. No dealer needed, yeah, the garden cut the chain. No dealer needed, yeah, through the sun and the rain of the growing season, the independence was earned. No dealer needed and the lesson learned in the soil. No dealer needed, yeah, from the seed to the smoke. No dealer needed, yeah, freedom is no joke. When the doesn't know the stream the way the grower does. No dealer needed, and the understanding was never part of the transaction at the corner or the call. No dealer needed, and the growing stands tall above the dependence and the markup and the chain. No dealer needed to the harvest and the rain of the patient gardener who knows exactly what he grows. No dealer needed, and the ganja man knows. No dealer needed, yeah, the garden cut the chain. No dealer needed, yeah, through the sun and the rain of the growing season, the independence was earned. No dealer needed, and the lesson learned in the soil. No dealer needed, yeah, from the seed to the smoke. Yeah. No dealer needed, yeah, freedom is no joke. When the garden is the source, no dealer needed, the righteous course for the ganja man. No dealer needed, yeah. The illegal market feeds on the prohibition. No dealer needed is the righteous position. Or the one who grows what Jah put in the ground. No dealer needed, and the freedom is found in the soil, not the street. Yeah. So the Gurum is the answer to the economy of the illegal and the taxed, and the autonomy of the grower who refuses both extremes. No dealer needed, and the garden dreams of the world where every patient goes their own. No dealer needed, and the medicine is grown by the one who needs it with the care it deserves. No dealer needed, the garden serves. No dealer needed, yeah, from the seed to the smoke. Yeah. No dealer needed, yeah, freedom is no joke. When the garden is the source, no dealer needed, the righteous cause for the ganja man. No dealer needed. No dealer needed, the garden provides. No dealer needed, no dealer needed, the seed and the soil. Yeah, no dealer needed, free, always free. Seven years. The doctors had 7 years and 14 prescriptions, and I still woke up in pain. Then I grew my first plant. Yeah. 7 years of the chronic and the daily weight of the body keeping its own particular state of the pain that the opiate addressed for a while before the opiate became the additional trial on top of the pain that never fully went. 7 years and all the pharmaceuticals spent, not a single one addressed the root below. 7 years, then I planted my first grow. Chronic pain, chronicle, written in the bone. Chronic pain, chronicle, and the garden alone gave me back the mornings that the clinic took. Chronic pain, chronicle, read it like a book of the healing. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. The garden changed the chapter. Hey. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. 7 years of disaster into the healing of the earth. Chronic pain, chronicle, the plant of ancient worth did what the pills refused. Lose. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. Week 3 of the growing season and the harvest in the jar. Week 4 of the medicine and the reaching of the star of the morning without wincing at the first move made. Chronic pain and the chronic started to fade. Not the fiction of the commercial and the claim, but the documented evidence I carry in my frame of the body that remembers what the pain was like. And the garden gave the key to the chronic and the sight. Chronic pain, chronicle, written in the bone. Chronic pain, chronicle, and the garden alone gave me back the mornings that the clinic took. Chronic pain, chronicle, read it like a book of the healing. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. The garden changed the chapter. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. 7 years of disaster into the healing of the earth. Chronic pain, chronicle, the plant of ancient worth did what the pills refuse. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. I don't tell you this for the sympathy, I tell you this because the testimony of the body healed is the most honest science. That the system built is chronic non-compliance around for decades while the patients paid. Chronic pain, chronicle, and the bed I made with the garden is the finest sleep I found. Chronic pain, chronicle, underground and healing. And healing. So the chronicle continues in the garden every season, and the body has a new and revolutionary reason to face the morning, and the morning has our face. Chronic pain, chronicle, and the garden's grace did what 7 years of protocols could not. Chronic pain, chronicle, and everything I got back from the plant is documented in my walk. Chronic pain, chronicle, let the healing talk, yeah. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. The garden changed the chapter. Oh. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. 7 years of disaster into the healing of the earth. Chronic pain, chronicle, the plant of ancient worth did what the pills refuse. Chronic pain, chronicle, yeah. Slow dub fade. Chronic pain, chronicle, the garden healed. Chronic pain. Before the clinic, there was the roots doctor. Before the white coat, there was the herb. Yeah. Roots doctor working from the garden, not the lab. Roots doctor understanding what the body has, written in its pain and in its plea for the natural. The roots doctor's practice is the habitual reading of the plant and what the plant prescribes for the ailment and the suffering that resides in the system that the pharmaceutical ignored. Roots doctor and the garden is the ward. Roots doctor, yeah, older than the clinic. Roots doctor, yeah, and the knowledge is infinite in the soil and in the leaf and in the growth. Roots doctor, and the body needs to know the natural. Roots doctor, yeah, working in the garden. Roots doctor, yeah, the body's pardon comes from what the earth provides. Roots doctor, the healing that resides in the ancient leaf. Roots doctor, yeah. The roots doctor knew about the glaucoma and the eye long before the ophthalmologist turned to try the compound that the garden grew in concentrated form. Roots doctor, knowledge was the norm before the double blind and the peer review. Roots doctor And the grandmother knew what the compound in the leaf could do for pain. Roots doctor, knowledge running through the grain of the culture. Roots doctor, yeah, older than the clinic. Roots doctor, yeah, and the knowledge is infinite. In the soil and in the leaf and in the grove. Roots doctor, and the body needs to know the natural. Roots doctor, yeah, working in the garden. Roots doctor, yeah, the body's pardon comes from what the earth provides. Roots doctor, the healing that resides in the ancient leaf. Yeah, roots doctor. They close the roots doctor's practice with the handcuff and the law. But the knowledge of the garden was the thing they never saw. Coming back to every generation. Roots doctor education. In the smoke and in the sea. Roots doctor is what the suffering need. Yeah. So the roots doctor continues in the modern growing gloom, in the urban garden glowing, in the apartments gloom of the four walls and the light on the 40-day wait. Roots doctor, knowledge walking through the gate of the new century with the same ancient understanding. Roots doctor, and the healing never landing, far from what the garden always had to give. Roots doctor, and the body needs to live with the natural. Roots doctor, yeah, working in the garden. Roots doctor, yeah, the body's pardon comes from what the earth provides. Roots doctor, the healing that resides in the ancient leaf. Oh, roots doctor. Roots doctor, the garden is the clinic. Roots doctor, the earth prescribes. Roots doctor, yeah, ancient knowledge never died. Ooh. 40 years prohibition, and what did the system gain? 40 years of the prison, and the sentence and the pain of the grower and the smoker and the patient who needed 40 years prohibition, and the garden proceeded to grow despite the raiding and the scheduling and the bill. 40 years prohibition, and the plant grows still in the grow rooms of the free and in the cracks of the concrete. 40 years prohibition, and the plant won't accept defeat. 40 years prohibition, yeah, the plant outlasted it. 40 years prohibition, yeah, the culture never quit. The growing and the knowing. 40 years prohibition, and the truth keeps showing what the plant was always for. 40 years prohibition, yeah. 40 years prohibition. 40 years prohibition, and the cancer patient found a compound in the garden at the prohibition ground into the criminal category. 40 years prohibition, and the story is the failure of the system, not the plant. Yeah. So 40 years prohibition stands as the record of the policy that failed and of the beckoned reckoning of the history that must come. 40 years prohibition, and the sum of the imprisoned and the prosecuted and the sick. 40 years prohibition, and the thick evidence of failure is the verdict that remains. 40 years prohibition, and the garden reclaims everything. 40 years prohibition, the plant survived. 40 years prohibition, the culture survived. Yeah. 40 years prohibition, the garden grew through it. The smoke was the signal before the telephone, before the radio, before the word was written. The smoke carried the message. Yeah. Ancient smoke signal rising from the earth, before the written record and before the birth of the institution that decided what was real. Ancient smoke signal and the ancient feel of the ceremony that preceded every law. Ancient smoke signal and the elders saw the future in the rising and the pattern of the cloud. Ancient smoke signal speaking clear and loud to those who know the language. Ancient smoke signal carrying the prayer. Ancient smoke signal, the ancestors are there in the rising of the herb above the morning ground. Ancient smoke signal, the most ancient sound of the human reaching upward to the divine. Ancient smoke signal, yeah, rising from the dirt. Ancient smoke signal, yeah, older than the earth. They put on the growing. Ancient smoke signal, the ancestors knowing what the earth provides. Ancient smoke signal, yeah. From the Rastaman in Jamaica to the Vedic sage, ancient smoke signal burning through every age of the human understanding that the plant provides. The opening of the consciousness that hides behind the ordinary and the everyday weight. Ancient smoke signal open every gate of the perception and the deep and the wide. Ancient smoke signal and the ancestors guide. Ancient smoke signal carrying the prayer. Ancient smoke signal, the ancestors are there in the rising of the herb above the morning ground. Ancient smoke signal, the most ancient sound of the human reaching upward to the divine. Ancient smoke signal, yeah, rising from the dirt. Ancient smoke signal, yeah, older than the earth. They put on the growing. Ancient smoke signal, the ancestors knowing what the earth provides. Ancient smoke signal, yeah. Before the Babylon drew its borders, before the church gave its orders about what was holy and what was crime, ancient smoke signal was the sign that the ones who came before us used to speak to Jah. Ancient smoke signal never refused to rise. Yeah. So every time I light the herb, I light it with the knowing that the smoke connects the living to the ancient growing tradition of the ceremony and the sacred. Ancient smoke signal and the consecrated, the ritual of the rising and the giving back. ancient smoke signal. The ancestors here, yeah. Ancient smoke signal. Before the law, before the border, always rising. Do 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 dum dum. Na 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 na. Dum do 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 dum dum. The Growers Manifesto, written in the soil tonight. The Growers Manifesto is the exercise of the right to turn what Jah put in the earth for the healing of the sick. The Growers Manifesto and the arithmetic of the 40 days of tending on the harvest and post-punk, new wave, gothic rock, alternative rock. The Growers Manifesto, and the growing is the sure and steady answer to the Babylon's disease. The Growers Manifesto, on my hands and knees in the garden. Manifesto dub, the Growers Manifesto, yeah. Written in the grove, the Growers Manifesto, yeah. Letting Babylon know that the garden is the answer. The Growers Manifesto, the earth is the dancer and the grower leads. The Growers Manifesto, yeah. Article 1, the seed belongs to no government. Article 2, the soil belongs to Jah. Article 3, the harvest belongs to the grower. Article 4, the medicine belongs to the sick. The Growers Manifesto, yeah. So the Growers Manifesto is published in the harvest. The Growers Manifesto and the gardener's arrest moment of the truth is when the medicine is grown. The Growers Manifesto, and the garden is the home of the righteous and the patient and the 40 days. The Growers Manifesto, and the garden always pays the grower back in what the garden grows for free. The Growers Manifesto, written in me. Manifesto dub, the Growers Manifesto, yeah. Written in the grove, the Growers Manifesto, yeah. Letting Babylon know that the garden is the answer. The Growers Manifesto, the earth is the dancer and the grower leads. The Growers Manifesto, yeah. The Growers Manifesto, written in the soil. The Growers Manifesto, the garden is the grove. The Growers Manifesto, growing righteous free. The last seed is never the last seed. The last seed is the first seed of the next generation, yeah. The last seed in the pocket is the beginning, not the end. The last seed and the grower sends it into the soil with the same reverence of the first. The last seed never carries thirst, for they harvest more than the knowledge that it brings. The last seed of the generation sings the same song as the first seed of the lineage before. The last seed opens up the same ancient door of the growing. The last seed, yeah, continuing the line. The last seed, yeah, the knowledge is mine to carry forward to the ones who need to know. The last seed, yeah, and the knowledge helps them grow. The last seed, yeah, never the last one. The last seed, yeah, the growing isn't done. The knowledge lives in every seed. The last seed, carrying the creed of every grower before. The last seed, yeah, my grandfather's knowledge in the last seed that I plant. The last seed and the ancestral rank of the grower who knew before the law had its say. The last seed and the knowledge finds its way into the hands of every patient who needs to grow. The last seed and the passing of the know-how from the generation of the tending to the next. The last seed never becomes the vex of the end. And the knowledge helps them grow. The last seed, yeah, never the last one. The last seed, yeah, the growing isn't done. The knowledge lives in every seed. The last seed, carrying the creed of every grower before. The last seed, yeah, the seed carries the memory of every harvest before. The seed carries the knowledge of the soil and the spore. The seed carries the identity of the grower's hand. The last seed plants the future in the land, yeah. So the last seed of the season is the first seed of the new. The last seed and the garden knew that the cycle never ends, it only turns again. The last seed in the soil in the October rain, and the January cold in the February wave. The last seed carrying the knowledge to the gate of the new season and the new growth and the new life. The last seed and the garden always right returns. The last seed, yeah, never the last one. The last seed, yeah, the growing isn't done. The knowledge lives in every seed. The last seed, carrying the creed of every grower before.